I'm here at Kawasaki Station. I'm getting trolled live by a guy wearing a Mexican t-shirt. Look at this.
Yeah, you can see the back.
See? Who could this troll be? None other than Eric Surf 6.
Hey, what's going on?
And hello there, morons. Good evening. It's 1:36 a.m. I don't make videos for a couple days, and I get out of practice. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, it's Victor. Give me a break, man. Give me a flake, man. King of the morons. Here with another. I'm gonna say short video, but it's probably gonna be a long ass video. Who knows? Who knows? You can check down and see what the length is and decide what it is. It's a laundry video, maybe. This is a weird one. I got a request from one of my subscribers. I'm assuming a guy named Vexed. He makes videos. He's got about 400,000 views, I think. He makes more video game related videos, but seems to be pretty good at it too. Anyway, he was arrested, kind of, not really, detained by the police, and he put up a video about a week ago. But it is now unlisted. It's not privatized. It's unlisted. So I can link you to it. And I'm going to assume that he doesn't want the authorities to get this video. So I'm going to assume that that is why it's unlisted. And I really doubt anyone's going to find it through here. But anyway, and he never showed. Well, he doesn't show his face here. But I have seen his face. I haven't met him yet. But he seems to be a young, a dashing Irishman. He's a cool looking guy. Anyway, yeah, and the reason I'm making videos at this time is my son's been sick. I had a busy weekend working all week. We work Saturday, Sunday, so busy. I'm gonna make a earthquake video right after this. You can check that out. But anyway, it's a really interesting story. It's a story about a young man who is drinking. He's underage. He's a few months underage, and he's stopped by the police. Racially profiled, he thinks, and I tend to agree with him. And he had a pretty horrible experience at an ordeal that lasted, from what I can tell, at least 3 hours, maybe up to 5 hours. I don't know. But in the end of it all, and there's one point in a couple highlights. And you should watch the video, but a couple highlights. He meets an English. He doesn't speak English very well, but enough. I mean Japanese. Sorry. He's Irish. They speak English. He doesn't speak Japanese very well, but he understands a bit. I'm assuming he's here as a student because he's 19, or maybe he's here with his parents, so I doubt it. I didn't hear anything about that, but and there's a one point in the story where he asks for an English-speaking police officer, and later, while he's speaking to him, one of the English-speaking police officers says, "You think I'm a fucking racist?" Which I was, apparently that's a quote, so I was impressed with that. Because it shows that Japanese are aware of our feelings, at least some of them are, right? And of course, the mentality here is completely different from what it is in whatever your country is, probably, unless you're from, I don't know, a country with a very police-like regime. Maybe, I don't know what country that would be, Russia or something, but... Anyway, here's the thing. If a police officer stops you in Japan and you resist a search, they're going to assume that that you're hiding something, which most people would, and you don't really have those rights here. Well, I guess you technically do. You do, but the police kind of, they tend to do what they want. There's various incidents, or in various parts of the story, he tells the police officers, "I don't want this, I don't want that," and they seem to agree, or they seem to recognize his wishes but ignore them anyway. Like, don't come into my house, but they come. Don't stay here, but they follow him in, things like that. Now, the user Vexed sent this to me, and he asked me what I thought. And my opinion would be, don't do what you did, Vexed, because it takes too much time. In Japan, if you have a bicycle, at least in Nagoya, I'm not sure if this is national, if you have a bicycle, you don't have to have it registered, but if you have it registered, it makes it easier if the police stop you and ask you to prove that you own your bicycle. Because they will do that, and they don't do that just to foreigners. I've seen them do it to Japanese all the time. Though on my way home today, I saw them doing it to a guy who looked like he was from India or Pakistan or something. They will stop you and say, can you, where'd you get the bicycle, blah, blah. If it's registered, it's easy. You show them and you're done. And like I said, they ask Japanese people the same question. Now, the same thing with your ID. You're supposed to, first of all, you're supposed to have it by law. So there's no real reason not to show it to them. And according to, we've been through this already on the Give Me a Break Man channel quite a few months ago, but if there's a suspicion, if they're looking for someone who's committed a crime in the area and they have a reasonable suspicion, it is apparently okay to ask someone to, a police officer can ask you to show you their ID. But if there's no real reason, you don't have to. And there's actually videos on the internet too, in Japanese, of Japanese saying, Japanese being asked by cops, and they're like, no, I'm not going to show you anything. So you can resist, but the thing is, do you really? They are quite persistent, and they will be on your ass for a long, long time. And do you really want to spend hours and hours defending your rights? And that is of course your right to do that. Personally, I wouldn't. I can't be bothered, or I can't be arsed, as they would say. I may be in vexed native Ireland. So he asked me what I thought, and I would say, I think you got lucky. You got off lucky. Good for you. Congratulations. You didn't get in trouble. In the end, you didn't get arrested, really. You just got detained. The guy ate up a lot of your time. You know, you're right to do what you did, you know, and the way you did it, I think. But I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't bother with that. The other thing about Japan that's interesting is... what's really interesting about his story is that he had a horrible experience. But listen to this. Let's see if I can get the mic here closer. Listen to this in his video.
It's the racist country I've ever been to. Just because I've had bad experiences doesn't mean Japan's racist. Japan's fantastic, and I'm glad to be here. It's absolutely amazing country. I would definitely encourage you guys to come check it out. Anyway, thank you guys for watching.
Okay, so he says even though he's had a horrible experience here, that he doesn't kind of hold it against the country. He thinks it's just... other countries are much worse. And, you know, it doesn't make it all right, of course. You still want to fight against things. But I think there's two ways to fight. You can protest like we do back in the States, and, you know, Black Lives Matter, Gaijin Lives Matter type of thing. Protesting, I suppose. Or you could just live a good life and be normal and interact with people, and eventually people will see. That's not a big deal that you're a foreigner. And that is happening. I'll tell you a good and a bad story. I'll tell you the bad story first. Last week, I was just last Friday, I think. It was rush hour. I was going home, and I got onto the platform, Higashiyama-sen, going home towards Nagoya Station, and a half Japanese, half black, or what it looked to be half Japanese, half black guy, a high school student wearing a boys' high school uniform, was on the train, and just as the doors were closing, he was pushed out onto the platform. And the train conductor, I guess, noticed that, and then, you know, the doors went and kind of opened again just to make sure no one's there. And the high school kid got back on, and he was a little bit shorter than me. And he started talking to some, you know, angrily, I guess, yelling at some Japanese salaryman who's in a suit and tie and all that, and is a bit shorter. He's maybe in his 60s or something. And I was impressed. I was like, yeah, give him hell. Yeah, man. Fight the power. But he just stared him down. And then as the train started, as the doors closed and the train started moving away, then the half-black kid turned towards me. And I gave him the old thumbs up, you know. Like, yeah, man. Good for you. But my point being that, yeah, is it because he was black? Is it because it was just crowded and shoved, and he was just, you know, the salaryman felt like he was being, you know, shoved a little bit? Who knows? You know, we don't know. But I mean, I can easily believe that it was a race-related incident. But while that is a bad thing, the very fact that you see a half-black kid on the subway is a good thing. Half-black Japanese kid. I mean, you wouldn't see that. I don't think I've ever seen that, actually, maybe. I've seen a couple, like, token white kids, you know, on subways dressed in high school uniforms, and they're usually, like, exchange students and stuff. And I've actually met some. I've had students who bring their exchange students, you know, they're doing homestays. They have homestay students, and they bring them to my Eikaiwa school and introduce them to me, just for fun or whatever. But one of my students is a basketball coach and deals with a lot of young female basketball players. And she says that in Japan, some of the best basketball players are half, and almost always half black. And she showed me pictures of their graduation pictures, and it's like the basketball team of one of the top high schools. Yeah, I think they were like I think they had like 4 kids on the team at one time who were black, or half black at least, or black, completely black. I mean, real black, like from Africa or somewhere. Yeah, and they're not even like American black. They're like from other countries, right? Yeah, and a lot of those kids actually become Japanese nationals. So you might think, okay, yeah, that's a little tiny minority. Yes, that's true, but these are people who are representing Japan in future Olympics, and there are people who are representing Japan on half Japanese kids representing Japan in America. In America, for example, Darvish, who plays baseball, and there's an half Iranian hammer thrower a few years ago, and of course sumo is completely dominated now by foreigners, Chinese and I don't think there are any half. So I'm sure there are, but I just don't know them. But a lot of foreigners. So what I'm saying is that it's becoming more and more part of Japan where you wouldn't see that 25 years ago, and that's a good thing. So it is changing. It's a little bit. I want to make a kind of a silly comparison, but it's a little bit like when Japan. Imagine Japan is your parent, okay, and they're dealing with their first kid. They don't really know how to deal with these kids, okay. And of course, the first kids that they deal with, the older generation, they didn't know how to deal with them very well. But every generation, they get a little bit better at it. So, for example, in my family, I'm the oldest son. My parents, they were very strict with me, and I didn't have a lot of freedom. But when my brother came along, he got little things were easier for him. It was easier for him to borrow the car, or stay out late. And by the time my sister came along 9 years later, she had it comparatively easy compared to when I was her age, in high school. I think they actually got her a new car for her 16th birthday. They trusted her that much. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. It's usually the oldest generation has to pave the road for the younger generations, and that's what's happening. But at the same time, the parents, or in this case, the Japanese society, becomes more and more accepting of the behavior that their children that they are exhibiting. So anyway, like the guy says, like Beck says, it's a great country. Of course you're going to have the possibility of having these kind of problems does happen, but you shouldn't let it stop you from coming over. Anyway, I'll leave a link to the video in the description. If he wants me to take it down, I will. Though I think it should be okay. We'll see. I'll put it up. And that's my first video for tonight. I got one more coming up, so check that out. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.
Inigo Montoya! Inigo Montoya! Yay!
If you need help, then dial your operator.